Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav,
And I'm Harmit.
and this is A Game of Thrones, Chapter 14, Catelyn. In this chapter, there is an attempt on Bran's life, but Catelyn and, luckily, Bran's wolf are there to save him.
Well, technically, there's a couple of things here that I was kind of right about. So, wait, no, when I was reading, I was like, I guess that, and I was having this, time of my life, and now I'm literally forgetting it. Okay, wait, let me remember. Rob stepping up, that that was obvious, but I still guessed it. Even though the things are obvious, I'm still gonna say I guessed it, because I did.
Okay.
Anyway, fire in the library tower, definitely didn't guess that. No, there was something, definitely wasn't like, oh, there's gonna be a fire.
Can you just not, read out our notes?
Sorry, wait. Wait,
we're having a tough time, everybody. Sorry. I'm a little talked out from, I talked a lot last night and now my voice isn't working, and it's we haven't slept much, we haven't eaten much.
There was literally something big that I was like, Nav, oh my god, see, I need to write down what I get. Instead of just what I'm reading, I need to write down,
Okay, maybe it'll come to us when we go through it.
It's fine. It's fine. You're gonna have to cut this part out because I'm just being dumb. It's fine.
Or I'll just leave it in. Anyway, let's just get on with it in this
all right. Let's
mess of an episode.
You know what? It's not gonna be a mess. If you tell me it's gonna be a mess, it's gonna be a mess. So you know what? It's not gonna be a mess. We're gonna kill this. Let's go.
Okay.
30-second summary. Start the timer.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm actually gonna give you 60 seconds. Ready?
Yes. Great.
3.
Cool.
2, 1, go.
Okay, we start the chapter. Catelyn really hasn't moved. Rob comes in. Rob is like, Mom, I cannot do this alone. I need your help. I am trying, but I can't. So she's like, okay, whatever. And that's her reaction. She's like, don't you care about Bran or whatever? And then we see a fire, and the way Catelyn says it, or there's a fire in the library tower with all the old scripts and everything. And so as Catelyn describes it, she's like, oh, me going insane was what saved Bran, or she says something along the lines of that. Anyway, so a guy comes in, he tries to murder Bran, and then it works out in the end. Nobody dies. Wolf saves everybody, and it's great. And Catelyn's like, oh my god, the wolf isn't as bad as I thought, even though it was screaming earlier. And anyway, so they make a plan to go and figure out what's going on and why the Lannisters are trying to kill Bran.
Okay, alright, that was just another minute. Now, you missed, all the actual details, but sure, we'll talk about the library tower for 5 minutes.
Whatever.
Sorry. No, I'm just, like I said, this is a tough day, and we're doing the best we can, so just hang in there with us, okay?
Okay.
Alright. So, it's been good summary. That was applause for you.
Oh, thank you.
It's been 8 days since everyone left, and so that tells us that Bran's, been in a coma for over 3 weeks, I think, because Jon left the same day as the King's party, and at that point it had been a fortnight, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, timeline. We go straight to Catelyn, sitting in Bran's sick room, as she calls it, and, she's just been there the whole time, not doing anything, not, paying any mind to any of her responsibilities. And Maester Lewin comes in and is like, hey, we gotta do something. Or you gotta do something, rather, we have shit to do and you're just sitting here. And she's like, I have shit to do, my son is dying. Sorry, I don't know why that's the voice.
What voice is that? Is that what she sounds like in the series? Or
no,
is that just
that's my voice when I haven't slept for a few days, and I imagine that's what she sounds like when she hasn't slept for a few days. And she does say all of us, when Rob comes in, she realizes that she's been shouting because she's just so tired. Yeah. And I was like, that's actually so relatable, because I get very cranky when I don't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
And I completely understood her, just like she can feel herself getting angry and like doing stuff she doesn't mean to, and then like she reflects on it right away and is like, what the hell is happening to me? But there's nothing that she can do to really stop it, and I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so Rob comes in and he's been stepping up, doing his part.
Yes.
And he's like, I'll take care of the stuff, and asks Lewin to leave. And then, do you want to tell us what happens?
Yeah, and then this part, okay, this was the first time that, it's pretty early, I don't know why it was specifically this moment, but at this moment, I almost started crying. When he started talking about little Rickon, oh my god. I was like, if I hadn't, like, I was about to start crying. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Because the kid's 3 years old and he thinks everybody's deserted him. So now he just hangs around Rob all day, like, because that's the only person that's around.
But Rob has so much to do. So
I
he's
know.
like, and Rob's like, what? Like, I can't,
Yeah, well, first, when he gets in, he's like, Mother, what have you been doing? What's wrong with you? You didn't even come say bye to the girls and dad or whatever. Yeah. And she's like, I've been here. I've been taking care of Bran or blah, 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 blah. But then he's like, there's other people who need you other than Bran, including Rickon. And then himself, because, he's starts kind of crying at that point. He's like, I'm trying, but I can't do it all by myself. That was really sad too. She does realize that he's only 14, and she's like, this is the sentence. I like quoted it because I was like, I need to remember this. She says that she wanted to get up and go to him, but Bran was still holding her hand and she could not move. Yeah. And that's not really a thing though, because she's the one who's holding Bran's hand. So she's like deluding herself that it's like, she thinks that Bran needs her more than he actually does. So she's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it's more that she needs him.
Yeah, like
in
she
this
needs
moment,
to do this for her.
Yeah,
as opposed to. Yeah, but she's ignoring all of her other kids, which sucks. Yeah. And oh my god, being 14 and being in charge of like a whole kingdom.
Yeah, and it's not like he was like, because they didn't think Eddard was going anywhere, so I don't think that they were like training him like specifically, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, he was taking his kids
be
on
the heir,
stuff.
Yeah, but
but they weren't like they weren't.
They didn't really prep for this for sure. Because
at all. You don't really think your dad's gonna go anywhere if he's literally like there and he's ruling and he's healthy. So, but I was like, oh, these kids, so sad. Yeah, and then then they're kind of talking about like the wolves howling, and she's like, oh my god, shut them up, I cannot handle this.
Yeah, in fact, she's like, kill them if you have to.
At that point, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, which later comes back and is like, if they had, I
mean, yeah. And then, so at this point, they're like, oh my god, there's a fire. And then...
Yeah, they see Rob notices a fire in the library tower and rushes out to help them.
As everybody was supposed to do. Everybody was supposed to rush over and like be like, oh my god, there's a fire, like there's like a fire in Winterfell. That is weird.
But all Catelyn can think is like, thank god it's not in this tower, because then Bran would be hurt. And instead of being like, oh my god, there could be people in that tower that are burning.
Yeah. And like all of the old like she does acknowledge it. She's like, oh, it sucks because there's so much in there, but she acknowledges it, but she doesn't care, like you can tell, Because it's also, like, she doesn't care as much about, like, if Ned was here, like, that is literally that was his entire life, right? Like, this is where he's been his entire life. So if he saw that fire, his reaction would be much different than hers. Because even from the way she talks, you can tell that she still creates this boundary between the Winterfell people and her,
yeah, but I don't think that this was, like, an instance of that. I think it was just the fact that, she was too consumed with worrying for Bran.
I think it was both. I don't think...
No, I don't, honestly. Because, like, she's not... Because, okay, first off, we talked about how, like, precious books are in this world, because, you know, you only can have a few copies, and if they're gone, they're gone. Which, by the way, I remembered that Tyrion took some of the rare books from Winterfell. So I'm like, oh, at least those got saved.
That was literally, when I saw the fire, that was literally my first thought. I was like, oh my god, it's okay, we still have some books. That's why I wasn't too upset about the fire.
All the others are gone forever. And, like, you know, it may be the Stark collection, but it's still shared knowledge that is important for everybody. So I really don't think that it was anything to do with, like, oh, this is the Stark library as opposed to the Tully library. I think even if it was, like, her dad's house that was burning down, she wouldn't go because Bran was in the state, and then she was in the state because
obviously she wouldn't go because she's in a lot of distress, but I still think it's both. I think it's both.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay, fine.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just tired. Stop making that face at me.
What face?
The lack of a face.
I don't think that's possible.
Anyway, so, you know, while everybody rushes to go to the tower to put out the fire, she's in there with Bran, and she, like, turns from the window, and all of a sudden this guy is there.
No, I was like, wait, so, like, I guess her senses aren't exactly heightened, right? Well, I guess she's not exactly,
before
like,
she
alert.
hadn't noticed that Robb was at the door, so, you know.
That's true. I guess she's just not really paying attention to her surroundings.
Yeah.
But I saw that, and I kind of, like, went back, and I was like, wait, where did we see it? Because, like, before I kept reading, and I realized, oh, this is a guy who's, like, you know, with a knife. I thought it was, like, someone came in, and I was like, oh, where did this happen? And I went back and tried to figure it out, and I was like, oh, no, this is not, like, someone came in to, like,
no,
talk
I
to
think
her.
It's supposed to be a little shocking that he just appears.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So he's, you know, constantly he's like, you weren't supposed to be here, and that's, like, all he says. Like, constantly. And he's got a dagger, and, you know, but by the you weren't supposed to be here, Catelyn puts it together that he's actually here for Bran and not her.
Yeah.
And
that kind of makes me think it's like, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe he was obviously, like, forced into this, right? Because, like, who would just be like, yeah, let me just, like, go kill a kid, you know?
I don't know if he was forced. He was paid, like, well. We find out later he had 90 silver stags. That's a lot of money.
Oh, I did not remember that. Or
you did. How? Where is your brain when you read these books?
I don't know. I just don't remember things. That's not my fault.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so he was paid to be there. We find out later. But, so at this point, all Catelyn can think is, like, she's gotta save Bran. But the guy attacks her, and in an effort to save herself, she, like, grabs onto the dagger with her bare hands, and, like, it cuts into her hand, and I was like, oh, just reading it made me... I had a paper cut last week, and it hurt too much.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, but, you know, her maternal instincts or whatever kicked in, and all she could think was that she needs to save Bran. And at one point, when it seems like the guy is gonna kill her and both Bran, suddenly a wolf appears and attacks him and rips his throat out. So that was great. What do you think?
I swear to God, the wolves are, like, the same. You know, you're like, oh, the people in power. Like, you know, like, Ned's gonna, like, save the day, or, like, the people with power. No, it's the wolves. It's literally just the wolves are saving the day, which is fun. And then so Bran's wolf saves him, and then finally some nice, Bran's wolf saves him, and then everybody, like, comes back in the inn, and they're like, oh my god, like, what's going on, you know?
The room.
Yes. No, I said comes back in.
Oh, sorry, I heard comes back in the inn.
Comes back to the inn.
My brain's not working today. So okay. Anyway, yeah, wait. And, like, you know, just a few minutes ago, she'd been saying, kill the wolves. And now she's like, of course it was Bran's wolf. Thank you.
I know. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, of course it was Bran's. Oh, she means, like, as opposed to one of the other wolves. Oh, I get what she means, like, now. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, but that makes sense. I don't get why she...
Like,
okay, I'm just over-examining this. Right, okay, yeah. That makes sense. I'm just overthinking this.
Yes.
Anyway,
and
okay.
I'm not thinking because my brain's not working.
Okay, so
Anyway.
then Catelyn ends up sleeping for 4 days after not having slept at all, which is kind of like the only high note of this chapter. I'm like, okay, she finally got some sleep.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how she got this like sense of like peace, or I forget how she phrased it. I'm gonna try and find
once
that.
she woke up, she feels like that this burden's been lifted off her shoulders, because she's finally shaken out of her like shock with Bran being
like she feels normal now because she's she slept, which is really good for you, despite what we try to believe, or try to convince ourselves that, like, whatever. And then B, she's like, once again, she slept, and B, Bran, and B, this like whole thing is like.
You said B so many times. Okay, let me try.
Go for it.
Okay, so for like weeks, she was in this state of mind where all she could think about was Bran, and I think this event really shook her, and like it kind of, when somebody's like in shock, you shake them like to get them out of shock. This is what that event did. So now that she's gotten her sleep and she has some energy, she's thinking straight again.
And it's also given her like, now she has this greater purpose. She's like, wait, what? And, with purpose, you function better.
Sitting by Bran is not going to do anything. Which is like, it was true before as well. Like, the fact that sitting by Bran wasn't really going to help him in any way, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be there if he ever, passes away, but that was about it. But now she knows that she can do something to bring him justice or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. She has something to focus her attention. She has a purpose now, and she doesn't just have to be sitting there doing nothing. Because even earlier, like, she's acknowledging, she's like, yeah, like, literally anything could happen, and I'm just sitting here. But she's like, I'm still sitting here just because I can't, like, move or whatever, Yeah. Because she still acknowledges, she's like, I can't do much, but, like, she still just feels the need to be there. But now, now she has this, like, logical thing to go and do.
Yeah.
And it's, like, just a greater purpose, honestly.
So, yeah, she's woken up, everybody rushes in to meet her. She notices that Rob's all dressed up in, boiled leather and some chainmail, and he's carrying a steel sword, so...
Dang, pop off.
Yeah, he's, like, growing up, but, like, at later point, he, like, pulls out his sword, and it's like, I'm gonna go kill Jaime Lannister, and
he's like, that was
foolish
funny.
Boy, never, what is it? Never swing your sword unless you mean to use it, or something like that.
And then Bran just kind of like, sorry, not Bran, Rob just kind of was like, oh, oops, I shouldn't have done that.
It's kind of a reminder that he is still a kid,
Yes.
Even though he's grown up a lot in the last few weeks, still.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're having a conversation, and they're talking about who this guy was, and they mentioned that, he's been hanging around the castle for the last few weeks. He isn't from around here. So they, the logical conclusion is that he came with the king's party and just kind of stayed behind. And since he smelled like the stables, it was obvious that that's where he was hiding out. Yeah. And in his little hideout, they found 90 silver stags, which are the coins that he was paid with.
Okay, so okay, see, I just glossed over that part then, so I was like, oh my god, why would he do this? And then I was like, maybe he was forced into, like, that's why I reached that conclusion, because I didn't read that, apparently. Okay,
anyway, he was paid.
Yes.
And,
that makes me sad. I didn't want, see, I think I just wanted to, like, hope, like, obviously we've seen that people in this world can be rather crude, but I was really hoping, like, someone wasn't just, like, out here trying to kill a kid just because of money. But I guess even anywhere, that's gotta be true. It's a lot
of money.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So they finally put it together that if somebody would pay so much money to kill this kid in a coma, they must be afraid of what he knows. Yeah. So from there, the Master-at-Arms is like, oh, this dagger, it wasn't any plain old dagger. It was a Valyrian steel dagger with a dragon bone hilt. So,
which is...
It's like, it's a big, expensive weapon, so only somebody important could have had it.
Mm-hmm. And then Catelyn's like, okay, you have all got to swear to secrecy. And then she like tells them that the Lannisters, they believe that the Lannisters killed Aaron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yay, I finally said it right. I was about to say Aaron, and then I was like, I think that's wrong. Okay, Jon Arryn, and
then she like remembers that Jaime didn't go on the hunt that day.
Yeah.
When Bran fell, and is like, oh, puts two and two together and realizes that he must have been behind it.
Yeah, and someone else also was like, yeah, like Bran never fell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maester Luwin, the one who was like showing him by throwing mud baked boys off of roofs, like what will happen if he falls. And he's like, yeah, but I never really thought he would fall, even though I was like giving him all the warnings.
Yeah, that's true.
But like they like, you know, they're getting this whole thing right.
Yeah, I know. I literally wrote in my book, like, I was like, SMRT. Every time
what does that mean?
Smart, but it's like it's like a Simpsons thing where it's like, oh, SMRT, I'm so smart, you know, ha ha ha.
Okay.
Cheeky humor, but no, it's okay. But I just like I wrote that in like so many places because I was like, oh my god, how are they just like, you know what I mean? But then I guess they're just taking the worst possible conclusion and going with it, and somehow the worst possible conclusion is right.
She's had some sleep, so now her like executive functions are functioning properly.
Yeah, but she must be really smart that she's just like on the ball. We hadn't really, well, like we knew that she wasn't dumb, but we didn't know that she was smart, you know?
Yeah.
Until now.
Exactly.
And now I'm like, okay, you're smart. Like I'm like, yeah, you're smart. Like, that has proven you to me.
Yeah. So, you know, they put this together, and Maester Luwin points out that, you know, while it may be true, it's all just kind of they're just kind of making it up. There's no real truth. So Catelyn decides that the only place you can find proof is King's Landing, so somebody needs to go there. And she looks around the room and she's like, okay, this guy's old, this guy's fragile, this guy's a kid. Oh, it's gotta be me.
This guy's a kid.
Well, yeah, that's what she's like. Theon is like young and impetuous or something.
Yeah, wait, what did we know about Theon? Was it like he'd served like Daenerys and her family, or like what was it?
His family had rebelled.
His family was like the Lannisters, where earlier they were serving the
No, his family is the Greyjoys.
No. But I'm saying, like, you know how the Lannisters were earlier, they were like serving the like Aegon the Conqueror and them, and then not the Conqueror. No,
this was later. This the Greyjoy rebellion happened after Robert was king.
Oh, so they rebelled after.
Yeah, like 9 years ago, as opposed to the 14 years ago when the last war happened.
So wait, so they were okay, they rebelled.
So Robert's rebellion happened 14 years ago.
Yeah,
and then a few years after that, 9 years ago from this time, Theon's dad, Balon Greyjoy, rebelled, and they won against him, and to teach him, like, you know, a lesson, or to keep him in his place, they took Theon from him and made him Lord Stark's ward.
I see. So I guess, I don't know, that's why, because I remembered something about, like, Greyjoy not, like, his loyalties not being completely to,
yeah,
like,
well, because he rebelled
leadership
against Robert, so, yeah.
Interesting.
But, you know, I don't know if Theon's been living with the Starks for almost 10 years now.
And he says something about, like, I forget what he says.
My house owes you a great favor, or whatever.
Is that what he said? No, like, at the end of this chapter.
Yeah, this chapter.
He said, my house owes you a great favor?
Because, like, they're talking about that it might, like, you know, it might come to a war between the Lannisters and them. Right. And Theon's like, oh, my house owes you a great favor, and if it ever comes to that, we'll back you. Right. Like, that's what he's saying.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry, we got sidetracked. So somebody needs to go to King's Landing, and Catelyn decides it has to be her. And she allows Sir Roderick to come with her because, you know, she could probably use some help, and, it'll also just be, you know, it's a generally a good idea to like at least have one person that has your back with you when
That's
you're
true.
traveling in these lands.
Yes.
And they plan to go down the White Knife, which is a river that connects to White Harbor, which is a harbor in the Bight, which is a part of the ocean. So they're gonna take some boats down to King's Landing, and because they're going by water and there's only two of them as opposed to like, you know, hundreds of riders and wagons and wheelhouses, they're gonna get there faster and probably even before the king's party gets there.
Smart.
Yeah. So that's the plan, and as she says, we shall see what we shall see.
Which, yeah, you will see what you see.
Well, I've already seen. It's really just you.
Okay, whatever. I'm traveling the road with the characters.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. We're going into predictions now. I want to get right to it.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about this attacker and what we know about him. So we know that he was somebody from the king's party, that he was paid handsomely, and supposedly, you know, they figured out that it's because Bran knows something. So who do you think it was that ordered that attack?
Ordered the attack?
Mm-hmm.
On Bran.
Yeah.
Jamie Lannister.
For sure?
Yes.
I mean, he was saying like
Bran doesn't upset a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. And in the Tyrion chapter, Jamie was saying that, you know, he'd be better off dead. It'll be easier for him, and that's kind of the reasoning that the
guy
attacker
gives.
Like,
yeah, for sure. I don't know. I'm kind of like,
I don't know. This like dagger. It's so like if you see. Like, you know, if you're gonna go hire somebody to kill somebody else, you're not gonna give them your own gun. So there's like a couple possibilities. Either like the dagger was part of this guy's payment, you know, like here's this really expensive dagger. You can also have it as well as the silver coins I'm giving you.
Yeah.
And the guy was just dumb enough to be like, oh, I'll just use this to kill him, as opposed to being like, oh, I should probably hide this.
Yeah.
And or the other possibility is that, well, the person who was giving the order wasn't, like, thinking it through and was like, oh yeah, just use my dagger. Like, or they were dumb. Or what else could be a possibility?
Okay, payment, dumb, or...
Here's this very special weapon that everybody will recognize. Make sure you kill with this. What does that tell you?
Maybe it's like evade, like... So then, See, I want it to just be Jamie Lannister, because that would just be simple. Maybe it's like, oh, well, if you kill with this, it'll make them think that like someone with like a lot of money and power sent you.
Okay, so like it's a framing device, like
yeah, it could be.
Like use this so that this other person can be framed for the murder.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank God you got to that conclusion. Took you long enough.
See, I just didn't want to, I don't know, I just wanted it to be Jamie, so I was like, why would I...
Well, it could be somebody framing Jamie, or it could be Jamie framing somebody else, because we don't really know, like, we know this dagger has to belong to somebody who has, like, a lot of power and money. We don't really know that it's Jamie, necessarily. So Jamie could have been like, hey, this is...
You know what's a weird, this is kind of a, I don't know, this is probably not true, because I feel like there's a couple of reasons for this not being true. But here's a weird prediction that I'm just going to toss up in the air. Because I feel like I haven't made any, like, direct predictions in a while. So, let's say Jamie was like, do you remember that last chapter with Tyrion where he was like, sometimes I wonder whose side you're on? You know, that's essentially what he was saying. So, what if that's like, what if everyone in like the Lannister family has like a specific sword like that. And then like Jamie took like Tyrion's, or wait, Tyrion's at the wall. That's not, never mind. This is a dumb prediction.
He was there when the King's party was there.
That's true. Okay, you know
so
what?
Everybody left at the same time, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if they went to the wall or to the south.
Okay, that's true. You know what? Fine, I'm just gonna give my dumb prediction. You know what?
So
Jamie
you think
stole
Jamie
his sword and framed Tyrion with it.
Okay, but why would he frame his own brother?
Because he doesn't know if Tyrion will rat him out anyway.
Okay, so if you remember the Tyrion chapter, we
Yes.
talked about how it's very possible, in fact, it's more plausible that Tyrion does know that the twins were behind Bran's accident, right?
That's true. Oh, so then it would just instigate him further to be like, oh, it was them?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
And, like,
Yeah.
let's think about it. Who knows about... So, the reason for the attack on Bran is because he knows something. And we know what that something is. It's that Jaime and Cersei are, having sex, or that they were the ones who pushed him. Like, those are the two things that he knows that could be harmful. So, who knows those two things? So, there's Jaime and Cersei, and there's Tyrion. Is there anybody else?
Does Tyrion know both of those things, though?
He knows at least one, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess if he's like, I don't know. It's weird. He was smart enough to figure out that obviously, like he figured that out
Like
instantly.
maybe Tyrion sent this killer. Because he says, I love my family. So
I think that's more of his. I think that's more of like an agreement to like go with what they're doing, but not necessarily, like, I don't think I think that just means he'd be more likely to go with their wrongdoings rather than, like, do the harm himself.
Okay, like, he would let them get away with it, but not do anything himself?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I feel like he's not just gonna go out of his way to kill Bran. There's no...
Okay, so what is your principal prediction here? Who sent this person and why?
Give me a second.
And why this dagger?
Maybe...
Honestly, knowing the answer to this, I'm like, why are we spending so much time on this dilemma? But, like, it's important at this point.
Okay. It's Jaime. Because there's no other, like, prediction that makes sense to me than Jaime.
Okay,
but
so
I feel like
Jaime
it might not end up being Jaime just because that's, like, way too obvious. But whatever. Okay, you know what? It's Jaime.
He sent it because he wants Bran dead, because Bran knows everything.
Yes.
And
he sent
why would he give him that dagger?
Because he has much more expensive daggers and he doesn't need that one.
But it could, like, still be an identifying feature.
What if do we associate Valerian with them? Like, I don't know. I feel like we've just seen Valerian everywhere. We've seen it in all the royal houses.
So
or whatever.
the reason they're kind of going to King's Landing is because the Master at Arms says that, a dagger like that wouldn't go unnoticed. So they're thinking that somebody in King's Landing will recognize it.
Okay.
So if somebody recognizes it as Jaime's dagger, isn't that...
Yeah, but I don't think it is Jaime's dagger. I think that's why I'm like, I don't think it's Jaime's dagger. I think he either took someone else's, or like what I'm saying is I think his daggers are like, that's a really good dagger, but I think his daggers are better than that. So it wouldn't, like, if you see that dagger, I don't think people would be like, that's what the king's brother-in-law has. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like they have much better daggers than that.
Okay.
Like, if Ned has
I don't know how you can get better. It's Valyrian steel and dragonbone, but sure. Maybe put some gold on there.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, good discussion. We talked about that for like 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so are Catelyn and Sir Roderick gonna be successful in getting to King's Landing and, figuring this out?
I think they're gonna get there. I don't know what's gonna happen after they get there.
Will they get there before everybody else arrives?
It's funny. Literally everyone's traveling right now, and now they're about to go travel too.
Yeah,
But
a lot of traveling.
Sorry, what was your question?
Well, are they gonna be successful?
Oh, they're gonna get there. I just don't think they're gonna be able to just like really quickly like prove. Like, I think they'll get some sort of lead about the dagger, and like they'll be like, oh, like this guy made this dagger 50 years ago. That guy's related to the, like, do you know what I mean? Like there will be something, but I don't think someone's gonna be like, oh, that sword belongs to Roger. You know, like I just don't.
Roger.
I don't see that happening.
All right. Okay. I can't think of anything else. Do you have any other predictions based on this chapter?
I'm trying to think.
Like for Rob or Bran or Rickon or anything?
Yeah. Well, I hope Rickon's gonna be okay. Well, now his mom is leaving too. Well, I mean, he didn't really have his mom the last couple weeks anyway, so he's not gonna notice, but, I feel so bad for Rickon, but anyway, let's think. I feel like someone's like, once they get there, someone's definitely gonna be like rude about Bran. Like one of the Lannisters is definitely gonna try to like pull some horrid emotions out of Catelyn and just be rude. And that's gonna make me mad.
Well, what a prediction that is.
It's almost like inevitable at this point, I know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess that's everything. Do you want to flip the chapter and look at what's next?
Okay. Sansa.
Oh, yeah. Have we had a chapter from Sansa before?
No, all we've seen about her is that she's good at knitting or whatever they were doing.
Sewing.
Were they sewing? Oh, I don't know why I assumed they were knitting.
They were learning.
All we know is that she's the perfect girl, and everyone always tells Arya to be more like Sansa. So now I'm assuming we'll see that she's just like not as perfect as we think she's. Well, that's interesting. We haven't had like a, I don't know. Never mind. No, that doesn't make sense. But no, cool. That'll be interesting.
So what is sorry, give me a sec. So where are we gonna meet up with Sansa? Like, what's she gonna be up to?
Last time we saw them, that was when Eddard and Robb were like riding their horses away to like have a conversation.
Yeah.
And they were like,
on
oh,
the
let's go
King's Road
back.
on their way.
Yeah. So they're definitely not going to be there yet because we need Catelyn to get there before them. So they're definitely still going to be traveling. Yeah, so they're still traveling, just
and what's going to happen?
I feel like this is going to be another boring chapter where they're just like vibing, or like, I feel like it'll just be like her just like hearing conversation. She'll hear like some sort of conversation, and since she's like the better example, you know what I mean, in everyone's eyes, it's like, oh my god, Sansa's so perfect. Maybe she'll be like, oh my god, maybe I shouldn't tell anyone about this because like I'm not supposed to know, and like I'm the good child,
like Bran but with Sansa.
Yeah.
So all the kids are gonna do is just overhear conversations. That's what you think their whole storyline is gonna be?
Well, they're traveling right now. Like, what are they, like, are they really gonna be sitting there, like, learning, like, or, we like, could, fighting,
you know,
or, like...
see her, like, how she's relating to the people in the King's Party, how she's dealing with being away from her family, or, well, those are things.
Those are obvious. I don't feel like pointing those out. Duh, that's gonna happen. Every time we see... Fine. Well, every time we see these characters, we see how they're comparing and contrasting to the other families present. Like, that's just obvious. I don't feel like I need to point that out.
Okay, fine. Since you're so smart, we'll just end it here.
All right.
Okay, I'm just like, this is not my day. I'm very sorry, everybody, for being kind of, not off today, I guess. That kind of off. I don't know.
What?
I'm sorry, everybody, for being off of my usual cheery self, you know, my delightful presence that I couldn't shower you with today. Okay. And now I'm just going off.
That's not what you're saying anymore.
I need to go take a nap. So until next time, Wait, hold on. I need to check it out on all our social media and stuff. It's gonna be in the show notes. I'm not gonna say it because I'm tired. So until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.